So unfortunately, Officer Mora has now passed away. Rest in peace to him. Officer Rivera passed away the other day as well. This is a tragedy. You know, I wasn't going to talk about this because I didn't really want to get into it because it's something that's kind of close to me because it's the city I grew up in and the police department that I worked for. So I didn't want to react emotionally to things. But, you know, I thought about it for a couple of days. Then, unfortunately, I just read about Officer Mora. And I said, you know what, the hell with it. I'm going to speak about it. This is going to offend some people, but what else is new? I think at this point, whoever's still around, I don't think is going to delete me at this point. But if you do, you do. It is what it is. I'm going to jump all over the place, but I got a lot to say on this topic. So, you know, you have Eric Adams up there. And, you know, there's a lot of blame to go around. You know, there's not one person to blame about this situation. These situations that continue to happen. Crime is all over the place, getting worse in New York City. I'm glad I left. But it still hurts to see what's going on because my friends and my family are still there. And I still care about the city. You know, but the bottom line is this. You got these politicians, Eric Adams. You know, I watched that press conference and, you know, very good optics, right? He comes out with the NYPD jacket, you know, looking like in solidarity with the NYPD. And you know what? He was a cop, so he's got every right to put on that jacket. I'm not saying anything about that. And then, you know, you got the commissioner there that he brought in, you know, his high. But it's just funny to me that you have all the politicians there with him, and it's all the defund the police politicians. All these people, the Black Lives Matter people are there. So, I mean, it's just hypocritical for that to even be the case. But here's the kicker. He starts talking about guns, and he starts politicizing the situation about this cop getting murdered. At the time, it was only one police officer. The other one was in critical condition. And he starts talking about, oh, this is a failure of the federal government, and we need the federal government. We need your help. We need your help about these guns. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is just gun control. It's the same rhetoric. It's the same rhetoric. Oh, just the gun, the gun, the gun, the gun, the gun. Notice how he won't address the problem. And the problem is these communities. The problem is the communities and the people that live there, the criminals that live there. Not the good people, but the criminals that live there. He's not addressing the problem because you don't want to offend anybody, so you can't actually address the problem. And if you don't address the problem, you're never going to solve it. You know, they created this anti-police rhetoric and this narrative over the last few years. It's gotten worse. It got ramped up during Black Lives Matter. That police are just running around hunting down black people or people of color, which is not the case. That is not the truth, you know? So now you see crimes going up. You just empowered the criminals to act out. You just empowered them because they're all victims, regardless of whether or not they're really at fault. Now all these criminals are victims. And the police are the bad guy. Everybody hates police. And you put that narrative out there. And the politicians put it out there to try to get votes from people. Not to mention the judges, these liberal judges, these liberal DAs, you know, the laws getting changed, favoring the criminals. And then crime goes up. Are you surprised? If somebody knows that, wait a minute, now I can get away with this, or the punishment will be less severe, they're more inclined to do it. That's human nature. If you know, oh, the chances of me getting away with this are higher, or I'm probably gonna get a slap on the wrist, you're gonna do the math and say, well, maybe it's worth it for me to actually go out and do this, right? And then you create these bad emotions towards the police, and these are the results of that. And then Eric Adams starts talking about, oh, we need the public's help. You know, we need your help, guys. Hold on a second. You want the public's help, but you have the police doing your dirty work, and you have all these videos that went viral and these terrible optics of the police taking people out of restaurants and places like that because they don't have vaccination cards. So you're further demonizing the police by having them do this stupid shit that doesn't make any sense. These mandates, having them enforce what you want, not the public. You're not having the police do the public's bidding. You're having the police serve you and do your bidding to push your agenda. So you cause the problem and then you want to be the solution for the problem. But you're the one who caused the problem in the first place. I understand the position the cops are in, because if they don't do this, then they're going to get written up or they're going to get fired. You put them in a really, really bad spot. But they shouldn't be in that position to begin with. That mandate stuff is ridiculous. It's stupid. It makes no sense. They don't pose any threat to anybody. And why would you want the police to have more interaction and physical interaction at that? It's just not them talking to them, because if they don't want to leave, then it becomes a bigger thing. Why would you want the public to have more interaction with the police? Why would you want that? And let's be honest about Eric Adams. He's de Blasio light. He's a liberal. He's a leftist. I don't care. So he talks a big game on like, oh yeah, you know, we want to fix crime and that. BS. And look what he did when he got in there. He hired, I think it was 5 female deputy mayors or something like that. What does that tell you? That he went out of his way just to hire females. What does that? That shows you where his priorities are at. His priorities is pushing this diversity liberal BS. And who did he hire? A black female police commissioner. And I'm not saying that she's not qualified. I don't know. And it's all about optics. To say, oh, I hired a female. I hired a black female. It's all BS. It's all smoke and mirrors. And how much power does the police commissioner have under him? As much power as he says that she has, or he, if it was a guy, right? You only have that's a political position. Like, you can only do what you are allowed to do. Now you can probably try to push back a little bit, maybe, I don't know. But you're really handcuffed when you're dealing with somebody like that. You know, and all these people that were so pro Black Lives Matter, you know, the false narrative they were going with, oh, fuck the police, and, you know, all anti-police. Then I see these same people putting up pictures of, oh, rest in peace to the police officers that died, putting up the thin blue line. Like, you guys are full of shit. You guys are hypocrites. Like, you guys are the reason why we're in the situation we're in, or the situation you're in, because I'm in the South now. But the point is, you vote for these idiots. You push this nonsense. You just go where the wind blows. That's it. You know? So we can blame the politicians, and the politicians are garbage, especially these leftist politicians. But at the end of the day, who puts them in position? It's the people. It's the stupid people. These politicians enact these garbage policies that don't even affect them, because they don't even live in those neighborhoods. Those neighborhoods where there's people of color and high crime, they don't live there. And they put these bad policies in place that affect those people. But those are the same people that turn around and vote for them and continue to vote for them. So everyone's going to, like, this kind of, you think people are woken up now and, oh yeah, you know, maybe we'll vote the other way. No, they won't. They won't. They won't. They'll continue to vote the same way. And I guarantee you, the next time there's a police-involved shooting, it's going to go right back to the same thing. Oh, the police are bad. Oh, the police are hunting down minorities. It's going to go back to the same thing. People are going to get all emotional, specifically if you're a person of color and you feel like, oh, that's an attack on you and your whole community. It's absolutely sickening to see police officers murdered like that. And it's absolutely sickening to see all the murders of civilians and people getting stabbed and robberies, and criminals are brave, emboldened now. They're more brave. Why do you think that is? It's because of the laws. It's because of the policies, and it's the liberal policies. And people want to say, oh, you know, I love the people that are like, oh, well, I'm not into politics, you know. You should be, because it affects you, and it affects your community, it affects your neighborhood. So how can you say, oh, well, I'm not into politics, but look at the policies and who's enacting them. Like, you can't make that connection. New York City, it's San Francisco Part 2. New York City has become such a shithole. And I'm glad I left that city. And I will never live in that city ever again. Ever. And I tell people, like, listen, it's not easy to just get up and leave. Like, I understand you might have a job. You might have children and stuff like that. It's not. But if you can, I would implore people to get the hell out of there. Just leave, because it's over. It's not going to get any better. People are stupid. And a lot of people that live in that city are fucking stupid. So, you know, keep on voting the same way you vote. Keep voting Democrat, because, you know, Democrats love people of color and poor people. And if you vote the other way, that means you're a racist. Keep going along with the same nonsense. Keep going for the okie doke. So look, I don't do identity politics, because I don't live my life through the prism and with race glasses on, and I see everything through the lens of race. But I'm going to bring it up just to make a point and show you how ironic it is. These politicians, these leftists and everything, they claim to care about people of color so much, yet crime is getting worse in those communities. And the irony that 2 police officers that were murdered were so-called people of color. They were Hispanics. I believe they were Dominican. So that shows you that these people don't really care. You have a situation now where the criminals are emboldened, and now you have the cops that are scared to do their job because they're gonna think they're gonna get fired or they're gonna go to jail. It's not a good situation. And you have these laws, and then you have these politicians, which then influence the commanders, and the police can't actually do their job. And it's dangerous for the community. But people still can't put 2 and 2 together and figure out how we got here. But that's just one man's opinion.